You've seen the videos, right? Some person standing next to a flashy car telling you how they built an AI dropshipping store that just prints money while they sleep. It always sounds way too good to be true. So I figured, you know what? Let's put it to the test. I gave myself just $1 and 1 hour to see what would happen. So, what's the real story here? Is this the future of e-commerce, or is it just another digital illusion? That's exactly what we're about to find out. We're going to separate the hype from the actual reality, starting with the kinds of claims that are floating around out there. First, you see claims like this: $500 a day. The idea they're selling is this totally hands-off business that just works. And then, of course, the numbers start to climb. $10,000 a month. Now we're in the territory of that quit your job and work from the beach fantasy they push so hard. And then you get to the numbers that are just, honestly, mind-boggling. $600,000 in a single month. That just sounds impossible. So I decided, okay, enough with the hype. Let's cut through all the noise with a simple, real-world experiment. To find out the truth, I set up a little challenge. A personal experiment with some very, very strict rules just to see if a total beginner could actually replicate even a tiny piece of this supposed success. And I mean, the rules had to be strict. Rule number 1, only free AI tools. No fancy, expensive software. Rule 2, do everything from a laptop, nothing else. Rule 3, the whole store, from the initial idea to being live on the internet, had to be done in under an hour. And the biggest rule of all, the total setup cost could be no more than $1 single. The clock was officially ticking. Okay, so how do you actually build one of these things? Let's walk through the exact steps, from picking an idea all the way to launching the site for the world to see. The very first decision, and it's a critical one, is the niche. Now, instead of chasing some fleeting trend, the strategy here was to pick something that's always in demand, something evergreen. Sports and fitness was the perfect choice. Why? Well, it checks all the boxes. There's constant demand, it actually solves a real problem for people, and it gives you a shot at getting repeat customers. So, with the niche locked in, I let a free AI store builder do all the heavy lifting. And I mean, in just a few minutes, it had spit out a pretty decent-looking Shopify store. It had a layout, banner images, some basic branding, the whole shebang. But hey, a good-looking store is totally useless if you don't have a product that actually sells. Now this is where the real work started. The goal wasn't just to find a product, it was to find a winning product. So using a research tool, I filtered the search for stuff that was cheap to buy, had high profit margins, and was the kind of thing someone would buy on impulse. After sifting through a few options, this little breathing trainer device popped up as the clear winner. And here is exactly why that product choice is so important. It's all about the math. The unit economics here are really simple, but they're powerful. The device costs about $4 to get from the supplier, and it sells for around $13 to $15. That 2 to 3 times markup is the engine of the whole business. It's not about making a giant profit on one sale. It's about making small, repeatable profits over and over again at scale. Okay, this next step is where most beginners just completely mess up. They let the AI build the site and then they just launch it as is. Big mistake. Instead, I spent a few crucial minutes on optimization. I tweaked the product descriptions, adjusted the pricing, added some trust badges, and made sure all the payment options were connected and working. It's all about building credibility, because a simple, trustworthy store will always beat a fancy, confusing one. So the store was live, it was optimized, and now it was time for the real test. You've got to get traffic. So I spent $50 on a promotion from a small micro-influencer on Instagram. Then it was just a waiting game. 24 hours to see what would happen. You know what? The results were genuinely surprising. In just those first 24 hours, that little Shopify notification sound just kept popping up. The grand total for revenue from 10 real sales? $170. From a store that literally didn't even exist the day before. But hey, revenue is just a vanity metric, right? It looks good, but it doesn't tell the whole story. The real question is, was it actually profitable? So the total expenses, that's for the products themselves and for the marketing to get those sales, came out to $91. So when you do the final math, revenue minus expenses, the store had a net profit of $79. That's real, actual profit in my pocket from a $1 store on its very first day. And just for total transparency, here's the exact breakdown of where every cent went. $50 went to that influencer promo.
$40 was the cost for the 10 products that were sold, and that $1 was for the Shopify plan. That's it. No hidden fees, no tricks, just simple math.
So what does all this mean? I mean, is $79 life-changing? Of course not. But what it does do is it proves that the model itself is real. It's not just a bunch of hype. So let's lay down the final verdict. What's the myth here, and what's the reality?
Here is the absolute core takeaway from this whole thing. The myth is that this is some kind of automatic passive income machine. The reality, it's a real business model that requires real work. AI makes it easier, but it does not make it effortless. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, it's a scalable system that's based on simple math.
And it is so important to understand what AI doesn't do. It doesn't replace the human brain in the operation. You still have to do the product research. You still have to create the marketing strategy, test the numbers, and make the big decisions to optimize and scale. AI is an incredibly powerful tool, but you're still the one who has to execute.
Just think about it for a second. This incredibly simple test, built in under an hour for just $1, generated a nearly 80 times return in just 24 hours. The real question isn't about that one day, it's about scale. What happens if you test 10 different products or run 5 influencer campaigns at the same time? What happens when you do this consistently for a full 30 days? Well, that's when this stops being just an experiment and starts becoming a real business.